Roland, a friend of mine, is having real problems with her hip. Super young, super successful, pretty but also super stiff. Do you know what she could do for her hip? What exercises are there? How does it even happen?
This happens as it always happens due to too little movement, which you probably already know. And specifically at the hip. We sit too much, and this affects the hip because the hip flexor is shortened in this position. It pulls the hip joint together at the front. Who stands there with wider legs? Very rarely. We are mostly in this position. As a result, here it becomes too tight. Situation 2. Then while running and standing, an interesting muscle is constantly strained here. And therefore, if it is not balanced, it also shortens the outside. And the buttocks are also completely tense in most people. Therefore, because the front is too short, the back must counterbalance, and thus the chronic cramp. So all around, front, inside, outside and back.
Okay, but can you give me some tips or exercises that I can show her?
We'll do exactly the exercises that will suit her. We start directly standing up. You stand, maybe to the side of the camera, and when you are standing, you take your hands to the lower end of the buttocks.
Under the buttocks?
Yes. And you practically push your groins forward and pull your stomach back. Yes, you pull in your stomach.
Pulling in your stomach means lifting your pubic bone. We had that before.
Exactly, stomach must go back. And if you do it like that, then when you go back, you don't go into a hollow back, but the whole torso goes back. And specifically pivot at the hip. Not here, but take the hip.
What does pivot point mean?
That means you move back here around this point. And not up here.
Ah, okay.
That means in this area you have to stay straight.
And bend down there.
But down there it bends. You can best target this by actively pulling back the belly button, because then the hip automatically moves along and the pivot point comes down here. Then you are right at the hip flexor. And you notice that by the tension in the upper thigh, somewhat on the inside, running straight into the groin. This is the typical stretching pain for the hip flexor.
You're talking about hip flexors all the time. Where is it?
It is attached here going over the groin, a part into the pelvis, onto the ilium, and a part through the abdominal cavity, practically through to the back of the lumbar spine. Yes? And that is a very, very important muscle. For the hip, also for back pain and so on, it is usually shortened simply by sitting. And as you can see, this is the opposite of sitting. That's why we loosen it up there. Yes? You can do the same, stay like that and go against the wall.
You know...
And hold on to the wall.
Without holding my buttocks tight.
Yes, exactly. Take the other hand, yes, exactly. So. And if you go to the wall and do the same, then you have even more control. You can push yourself backwards against the wall. You can also maintain better balance. And you can also do the following. You can now let the leg fall backwards. Am I hyperextending now, so to speak? Yes, you practically overextend it from the lower legs over the thighs, hips, abdomen, and up here. This is ultimately not so crucial for the hip, but overall it makes the front much looser again. And this in turn indirectly affects the hip.
I feel like the total hyperextension, Roland.
Yes, you are also currently in total hyperextension. That is good. Do it for 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Start slowly, it's demanding. Increase it and always adjust the intensity so that you can still tolerate it well. Then you slowly come out again. And now describe how you feel. Look at the camera.
I'm sweating, I can't anymore.
Sure, the exercise is demanding, but what do you notice?
I am freer in any case.
After a workout, you will already notice it when you try it, that you feel completely different. Now we continue. Now we're talking about the inside of the thighs. And since hip problems are often one-sided, we can also divide the work a bit and do it with only one leg. René, stand like I am standing first. Then you go with the affected side. Let's say your right side is affected. If it's on your left, you do the same exercise with your left.
It's pulling on the left side of my calf.
Okay, then we turn left. For those who have it on the right, they just have to turn right. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart and take a half step back with your left leg.
This is my affected side, right?
Exactly. But make sure that the foot is pointing forward.
I have a bit of bow legs, I must say.
Yes, okay. So, and now you just take the left hand to the lower end of the left buttock.
I did it.
And you only hyperextend on the left side.
Stop. You are hyperextending only on the left side, meaning go back exactly the same.
With the belly button as before. The same applies that you bend down here and not over here. You make it safer by pulling the belly button back. Now you can feel the pull inside here. This is the left hip flexor that we have isolated and exercised. And that naturally makes it more intense for the side that is really affected. And we move on to the next bottleneck, the inner side of the thighs. It's best to do it with a chair or a table or in front of a windowsill so that you can stabilize yourself a bit. René, stand behind the chair.
I know what's coming, guys. It will be demanding.
And now you first bring your pelvis back into position so that you pull your belly button back so that the pelvis is as straight as possible. And spread your feet apart until you feel the first slight tension. Okay, and now the technique is as follows. Even if you stand much closer, it is the same principle. You move a little forward, that relieves the heels. Then you push the heels further outwards. Then you go a little bit backwards.
With the upper body?
Yes, so overall backwards. And now you can turn your toes outward.
Yes, as far as possible.
Take the toes as far outwards as possible.
Oh, I see. Oh, it's pulling right now.
Okay, was that too much? Now you have to be careful. Then go outside again if it was too much. Stand in a way that is just barely tolerable.
Why does that make such a difference?
Because then the muscles are stretched longer. Now position yourself in such a way that you have a point where you say it is still tolerable.
So do I still hold it?
It must not be a slippery floor, by the way. So do it best with shoes on the carpet so your feet don't slide on their own. That causes stress. You have to hold and stretch at the same time. This is not good for the muscles. You hold on there, the ground holds, so that you have a secure position. And whenever you notice that it pulls less on the inside here and that you move a little down from this border, then you take again. Depending on how you are standing, shift your weight a little forward, a little backward, and continue walking with these small side steps a little further out. But there is the hip. René, that is too far.
What does that mean?
The hip tilts forward, your belly sticks out. You have to leave the belly button behind.
Is that the most important thing, Roland?
This is not the most important, but an important part that should be considered. If the lower back is slightly hyperextended in the hollow of the back, it must not happen that you keep moving forward because that would be avoiding this stretch.
Yes.
The next exercise has a similar effect, especially for the inner side of the thighs, but above all for the short thigh flexors. These are the short ones up here that create this tension directly at the hip joint, which also have a very liberating effect.
Are they called short thigh pullers?
Yes, the short adductors, yes. Now, you go into the quadruped position, as René shows, and place both knees as far out as possible.
Oh.
As far apart as possible. And you walk with the tips of your feet, or rather with the soles of your feet, together. Keep your arms straight. And now you lower the inguinal region, you practically let your body sag. Yes, exactly, very slowly. Go in slowly because that is demanding. And don't overdo it, René. You must always stay within this limit where it is still tolerable. And now you notice it pulls differently, not so far down to the knee, it pulls more in the upper area directly around the hip. The procedure will be the same. You practically let yourself sink in until it's just bearable. A little more would tip it, would be negative, that must not be.
What does tilting mean?
Tilting means that suddenly you painfully realize you have to leave the exercise and it stresses you. That must not be. There must always be a pleasant pain. Even if it's noticeable, yes, there still has to be a sense of comfort. That must be predominant. Otherwise, the whole thing turns negative. This must not happen. The exercises should be fun. Now we are going to do the following. We are going to make a small amplifier. That is totally efficient during the exercise. Press both knees against the floor.
Both knees?
Both knees press against the ground. Yes, but not fidgeting in general, but stay calm. Press only with your knees against the ground. Let go again. And then you realize that you are sinking further down. And retract the navel. Take the navel back. Because the hyperextension should not be here, but again in the hip joints. No, don't let it down, yes? Okay? 2 to 2.5 minutes. And then the exercise is also finished there. And now to the buttocks, because the buttocks are totally tense in most people. Front too short, back must counterbalance to stay upright. And this tension has to come out now, best on the chair. Go forward on the chair so that the buttocks are still on it, that you don't run the risk of slipping down.
I hook myself there with my tailbone.
Yes, if that's how it works, then it's okay. Yes, then you stretch your left leg. And you cross your right foot over your left knee. Exactly. So if you can't do that yet because it's too clumsy for you, too shortened, then you can also start by placing your leg down there. And then with a loop or with a towel, you are sitting too close. You need to sit more securely, I just noticed. So, exactly, that's better. You shouldn't have to concentrate on sliding down. That causes too much stress. Would this already be an exercise for some? This is already an exercise for some. Above all, when you continue, it's good that you ask, go into the hollow back. Now fully arch your back. And remain in the hollow back, you bend forward at the hip. Yes. And there you notice, that really hits the spot. There's already some tension building up back there. Even in this angle, yes. But even more tension is put on when you eventually reach the point of being able to cross your foot over your knee.
I can do it, right?
Yes, of course. And you are also reasonably stretched. You're not that tall.
Well, but I can already feel it very clearly. And I am a young man in the prime of life.
Okay? Take your right hand to your knee and the left hand to the ankle. That is more like the foot. Ankle is there. Exactly. Make hollow back again. And come forward with the hollow back.
I feel like I'm about to get a cramp. In my left side, above the knee pit.
Above the popliteal fossa, because that's where the leg is that is being extended. But that's anyway. If you already have so much pressure up there, then it's also possible for you to come straight with your leg. So you don't come straight, that the knee comes up, that you pull up your foot. Pull up your foot. Yes, sir. Now the knee is a little higher. You notice the stretching is more in the buttocks. Go a little further back. With the foot.
So you think?
Yes, at some point the leg is vertical. Then you are in the basic position for the exercise. The previous were introductory steps. That may take 1, 2, 3 weeks. Then you are also there. At some point you can straighten the leg and place the foot down. Have a good starting position. Take the right hand to the knee.
Remaining faithful to the principle, the journey is the destination, I need to slowly work my way up so that I'm now in the exercise.
Exactly. Depending on how short you are, how tense you are, you have to start down there and then develop further. Or you manage to sit down like this. We always position the left hand at the ankle, because now it's important when you're ready, you have to fully arch your lower back.
Yes.
And if you can't get into the hollow back position, then you simply go a little further back. But you have a hollow back.
Can I refuse?
No, because you should actually stretch, right? This is now the point where you pull yourself forward but can still stay in a hollow back. By the way, you're not really in anymore. You're arching your back. Yes, now you're in the hollow of your back. Now you are in a hollow back. And a good tip is also the belly button. Because now you can imagine, instead of moving your shoulders forward, you imagine that your belly button moves forward. Do that. Belly button pulls out. Do you notice that is a completely different exercise? And it goes much more into stretching.
Just the fact that I have to maintain my hollow back makes me exert myself so much that I feel like I'm about to explode.
You must also stay within the degree that is still tolerable. Yes, this is the perfect execution. If you straighten your lower back a bit, it's still good. The more you go out, the worse the effect becomes. because then the stretching no longer happens in the hip joint but in the lower back. And here it's about the hip. Yes? And now you finally go further forward in the exercise. And when you notice that the stretching decreases, you always add a little bit more, but don't go too far in the upper body. Always try to get ahead with the lower area. And then it becomes very clear very quickly where the shortening is. Because where do you notice that? In the buttocks.
Yes, or around the buttocks.
Or around the buttocks, yes. The gluteal muscles are indeed very, very extensive with a lot of fibers, very large muscles, where it also takes a while to bring relaxation in there. But already after this one exercise, standing up, walking, there is a different feeling than without this exercise you will notice. And now, so to speak, the royal class. Also, this is an exercise that I really love. And that's because you practice the right and left hip at the same time. And if you then do 2 repetitions, you have trained both hips twice. Yes? And that's why it is very, very efficient. You sit down, like René is sitting here, and now you place your right lower leg under your left knee. And make sure that the knee is as close to the ground as possible. For many people, it doesn't work at first. They have to practically lay down to the left, lean over a bit, so that the knee comes down to the ground as much as possible. Okay? And now align your lower leg so that it is parallel to the front edge of the mat. This is supposed to become a right angle.
Okay.
That means you stay like this, but lift your right buttock more towards your back and lift your right buttock more towards the edge of the mat. Yes. And now we have approximately a right angle here. And now you take your left leg, bring it around to the back.
Aha, like a ballet dancer. Yes, okay.
Okay, yes.
That's not even so good, right?
Yes, it's getting better, but it's already better than many people who are much, much shorter. And therefore, please don't be surprised you only come with your left knee about here. You might notice already here that there's a brutal pull in the left groin. Then please do the exercise against the wall or standing, where you lean over or where you stretch yourself backwards on one leg. Because that practically releases the hip flexor so you can come back better with the leg in this position. You are practically practicing the hip flexor stretch on the left side and the glute stretch on the right side with this exercise. This is the double effect that I am so excited about in this exercise, because you practically kill 2 birds with 1 stone and have 2 effects, right? But, as René showed before, you go as far back as possible.
But I can also leave it like that.
No. Go as far as you can now. And place the top of the foot on the ground.
Foot arch.
Exactly. Turn the leg so that the top of the foot is on the ground.
Doesn't work at all for me.
Now it's going, I have to say, not yet. We need to check the language, right? If something doesn't work, we always say, it's not working yet. Because we practice it, and eventually it gets better, and eventually it works. This is a very important psychological principle when you say, I can't do it yet. Because then it is practically programmed that you can do it at some point, right? Then I'll correct it, Roland. I think I've forgotten it. Yes, like so many, which always get shorter when you were 5 years old or 6 or 7, that probably still worked. But it may now be that this position with the right angle, that you can't even get it because you have to lean too much on the side to even go that far with the torso. Also, you can't go higher with the torso, right? Then you do the following at the beginning. You bend your leg a little. And that relaxes, do you notice, right? That relaxes the stretching. The exercise is then not as efficient anymore. But you can do them, even if you are significantly more shortened in your buttock area. And then you would try to go a little higher every day, a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. And when you have reached a 90-degree angle and practice regularly there, you can even do a second exercise afterwards. And in the second exercise, you even go forward with your leg by 135 degrees. And
135 degrees, yes?
Yes, that was 90. And now another 45 more, that makes 135.
Ah, okay, cool.
And now you notice it pulls differently, right?
Yes, you also moved it up high, my leg.
Yes. Gently elevated, but it doesn't matter. Also on the outside, you now notice more how it pulls along here. And now we have arrived at the outside, because we had said at the beginning that the hip suffers from being too short in the front, too short on the inside, too short on the back, the muscles, and on the side. And in this variation, you wonderfully managed to handle this lateral tension here. And we have freed the hip all around.
Roland, it pulls here, 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 here.
Everywhere almost.
Almost.
Be glad, because the more it pulls, the more we pull the individual body areas away from the pain. Yes, because we solve the pain by pulling on what is too short and simply making it longer and more flexible. And that's exactly what René is feeling now, because in these position-sensitive areas, everywhere it's too short. If you wouldn't feel anything, you wouldn't be too short anywhere.
And I wouldn't be here either. But I still have one question. If I don't get very far now and I'm only up to here, am I up there, or is it more important to get further out first?
Both. So you try to take the angle as well as possible. And then, when you have taken it, let's assume that would be the position now. Now you are trying to be straight when seen from the front and straight when seen from the side. Then you would have to come here.
Yes.
If that works, this would be the time to open up a little more here. Or to go further back with the leg, because here you already have almost 90 degrees.
In front, behind?
If you have the 90 degrees, stay like that. And move the leg further back. Go all the way back to exaggerate it.
As far as I can.
As far as you can, yes. And now try to be completely straight.
I can't anymore.
Does not work. And this is now the training that you have to train yourself. And we have something for you. Click here above, and then you will come to another video. Have fun with it. And we say
Goodbye.
goodbye.